welcome to Chef Zee's Kitchen. Today we are making sugar cookies. Happy St. Patty's Day. I know you can't see that I have my green tights on, but I do have my green tights, so I don't deserve a pinch today. What I'm going to do right now is give you the ingredients so that you'll have it, and then we're going to go ahead and get everything started. You can do this without a mixer. Preferably it actually comes out a little bit better if you have a stand mixer or handheld mixer. You can use the paddles for this. So what we want to do in baking, the same rule applies, is you always have a bowl for your dry and a bowl for your wet ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and read off all of the wet ingredients. Everybody knows too, just as a reminder, that sugar is the exception. Sugar goes in with the wet ingredients. So for your wet ingredients, you're going to need 2 sticks of room temperature butter. Just set them out on the counter for about 25 to 30 minutes. 2 cups of white granulated sugar. 2 large eggs, room temperature as well. So those you can set out with the butter. And then you'll also need some type of extract. If you want a basic sugar cookie, just use regular vanilla extract. If you want to spice it up a little bit, maybe some coconut or lemon, berry. There's tons of extracts out there. Almond extract. Those are just a few. So whatever your choices. For your dry ingredients, you're going to need 4 cups of flour. You're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And then you'll also need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So you're going to mix those 3 ingredients together, set them in a bowl, set them to the side. You're going to go ahead in your mixer or in your other bowl with your wet ingredients, and you're going to cream together the butter. It should be nice and soft, room temperature. You're going to mix that together. It'll almost look like frosting. So you'll mix the butter together, then you'll add in your sugar, you'll mix that together and incorporate everything. And then you'll go ahead and you'll add your eggs in one at a time, and then you'll add your vanilla. Once all of that is incorporated, then we will start to add the dry ingredients that you have set to the side in the other bowl. And all of it should come together like a big lump. Usually what I do at that time is I'll take some plastic wrap, put the dough into the plastic wrap and let it set in the freezer for maybe like 25-30 minutes. That way when you take it out, it's easy to roll out, and then you can use your cookie cutters to cut out your shapes. Other than that, it should be all ready. So go ahead, get your butter and your 2 sticks of butter and your 2 eggs. Get those, set them out at room temperature for about 25 to 30 minutes, and I'll see you back in the kitchen. Hello and welcome back. So let's see if you got your butter and your eggs at room temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this and flip the camera here so we can see exactly what we're working with. I've got the ingredients laid out, and we can go ahead and start to get our sugar cookies going. All right, so we got our butter. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put our butter in. Got 2 sticks of room temperature butter. We're gonna put our top on the food processor. I've got my paddles in here. All right, so we need 2 cups of white granulated sugar. Go ahead and put that in here. We got 1. I think I measured it out evenly. Yep, sure did. See, I get trust in myself. All right, so we've got that. We're gonna go ahead and get that back, everything back in and incorporate it. Yes, of course, the kids are in there playing. All right. So we need 2 eggs at room temperature. We've got our 2 eggs. We're putting 1 egg in at a time. All right, go ahead and mix that up again. we need 1 teaspoon of extract. So we're gonna go ahead and put in some regular vanilla extract.
Whoa! Legendary! Whoa! Legendary! Whoa!
Alright, so I have already right here 4 cups of flour. So I'm going to go ahead and add our salt. We need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And now you're going to need your baking powder. So I've got some baking powder. We go ahead and get our baking powder added, which is going to be 1/2 teaspoon. All right, so about 1/2 teaspoon. Go ahead and level that off. Okay, we're going to go ahead and whisk that together. Just to make sure the salt and the baking powder is all combined. All right, so now we're going to add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients. All right, now if you're doing this in just a regular bowl, that's just fine. You add in a little bit at a time and just incorporate it and mix that together. So I'm gonna add in half of this, mix it up, and then come back. It definitely is a lot quicker and easier when you're using something like a handheld mixer or a food processor with a paddle. It definitely works a lot quicker. So you go ahead and close that back up. All right, time for the noisiness again. It starts to come together. Because we're dealing with gluten flour, we really don't want to overmix our batter. Put the top back on and we're going to mix that up together. Now we should notice that it should come into form a little ball. As you see, it's starting to harden, come together. All right, so let's see. And usually what I do is I kind of eyeball it. I could always add a little more flour to this, and let's see, let me get closer. So based on that texture, I would add a little more flour to it, and then we're gonna turn this over onto some plastic wrap, and then we're gonna put it into the freezer. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, take this off, and we're going to turn it over onto our plastic wrap. So this can be a little messy. So maybe there is an advantage to doing it with the bowl, because it's always so hard to get it out. But I like the quickness of it. And of course I like to get every bit of the sugar cookie dough so we don't waste any of it. So I scrape it off the paddle so we can get everything in there, and we have lots and lots of dough for cookies. So I like to bring it all together, pack it together. Alright, so we have our dough. That's extra. So go ahead and set that in the refrigerator, and that'll come together. So we'll have our sugar cookie dough. So you can use this anytime. You can put it into the freezer. I would put it in a Ziploc bag, and you can save it for up to 6 months, and then you can pull it out at any time and just cut little chunks off if you'd like to make your cookies. If you want to use the whole thing, then you can do that as well. But here's your sugar cookie dough. All right, so now we've had a chance to let our dough chill. We're gonna take our dough and we're gonna take just a little bit off so we can actually get our cookies cut and put them on the cookie sheet and get them in the oven. Set your oven to 325. Maybe I need new plastic wrap. All right, there we go. And I'll probably just go ahead and put this into a Ziploc bag just so it doesn't start to taste, because you'll realize, depending, no matter how much baking soda you have in your freezer or refrigerator, you may notice that it may start to taste like that. So I always put it in a Ziploc bag. So we'll put this in a Ziploc bag. All right, so as far as the rest of our dough, you want to just go ahead and try to not really knead it too much. You want to just get it all incorporated, because then we're going to roll it out. So I always try to start with a square, and you want to make sure that you flour your surface so that it doesn't stick. Get your rolling pin. This is my favorite rolling pin. I use it for fondant, but I still love it for rolling out cookies too. The sugar cookies, sometimes it's hit or miss, but you know, if you do notice that it starts to kind of crack up, just pat it back together. But it shouldn't. That means you get too much flour in there. So you want to try to get it as leveled as possible. I'm just eyeballing it right now. I don't have a garter on here. About an inch thick. You don't want it too thin, because then you'll have really, really hard biscuit type cookies. So you want them to at least have a nice little thickness to them. Alright, so that's good. Now we just need a cookie cutter. Alright, so we've got our clover. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I always try to take up as much of the space you have. Alright. Do as much as you can get out of these. So always try to minimize or maximize the space. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get all of our cookies on there. Oops, that one's starting to come apart a little bit. Usually if you see that, then you can just go ahead, put that back in and add it in with your dough and just start over. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get these in the oven. You don't want them too close together either, so that's pretty good. Okay, so I'm just getting these out of the oven. Look at that. Came out perfect. Look at that. So we have our 3-leaf clovers, and now the only thing you have to do is decorate yours. I'm gonna go ahead and decorate these. You can dip them in maybe some green melting chocolate. You can dip them in, well, dip them in chocolate, or you can actually take some, make some frosting. I can post excuse me, I can post the recipe for royal frosting, and that way you can just, all you'll need is a piping bag, a coupling rod, and a really small circle needle. And you can go ahead and decorate your cookies any way that you'd like. You can put some little gold dust on top of them. They'll be perfect. But I will decorate these and I will post pictures so that you guys can see them. Thank you so much.